Welcome to the Ingraham Angle. I'm Laura Ingraham. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Tonight, multiple tornadoes are sweeping through the Midwest, causing extreme damage and flipping tractor trailers.
Right in front of us, guys. Holy sh**. Violent tornado, guys. Violent tornado.
We'll monitor and bring you more as it comes. But first, late today, we saw mounting evidence, not in the courtroom, but outside it, that Donald Trump is winning. After 8 days of sitting through this sham hush money trial, he pivoted seamlessly to the news of the day, including Biden's comments on Howard Stern's show that he's happy to debate Trump.
I've invited Biden to debate. He can do it anytime he wants, including tonight. We're willing to do it Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, or Friday night on national television. We're ready. Just tell me where.
Brilliant. And by the way, he looks great. It's hard to see that Biden ever debates him, but we'll start popping the popcorn early for that one. But the point is, at 77 years of age, Donald Trump came out of that courtroom energetic and in fighting form after yet another long day of sitting and listening to nonsense. And voters seem to be noticing, too. A new national poll of likely voters, not just registered, by the University of North Florida's Public Opinion Research Lab shows that Donald Trump is flipping a significant percentage of Biden voters. Michael Binder, its faculty director, told Newsweek via phone that the numbers are a, quote, big deal, and that 6% of Biden voters considering voting for Trump could have a major impact in what have been notoriously close presidential elections. And I love this ominous line: if you're a Democrat, I'd be worried. Now, that's also the message we'll hear from a top union leader later in the show when he's going to stop by. He hosted Trump earlier this week and sees a pro-MAGA wave building among his members. And, of course, we have an insane Friday Follies on tap. But right now, why Alvin can't brag. That's the focus of tonight's Friday Angle. All right, dead dogs can't bark. But from day one of this ludicrous case against Trump, the Manhattan DA has been pounding on the canine corpse, trying desperately to resuscitate it. Look, he's still breathing, so pay attention and watch him do tricks. But it's not working. The case is flatlining. And that's because Alvin Bragg's approach was to indict Trump first and find a crime later. One problem: there's no crime. And David Pecker's testimony didn't help the prosecution. And it was particularly delicious, I thought, to see how...
Not talked about at the August 2015 meeting at Trump Tower. That's correct, Pecker says.
Right. Beauvais is doing a great job of just bringing out facts that undermine the government's theory.
Pecker confirms that Trump and Cohen did not pay AMI any money in connection with the story from a former doorman at Trump Tower.
Well, got to interrupt when you don't want to know where it's going. Well, they are getting nervous. The lawfare being waged against Trump seems to be totally backfiring. And so disappointed commentators who kind of bet the farm on this are just left sputtering. Even, and this was really great this morning, offering nasty jabs after Trump's sweet birthday greetings to Melania.
One thing I want to point out, the first thing he did was wish his wife a happy birthday and said he wished he could be with her. She could be there. Any number of his family members could be there at this trial at any point. They've all chosen not to be at this trial.
They've chosen not to be. Really, John? Really? That's as good as you can do? Now, it's bad enough for Trump to waste his time in a sham proceeding. Why on earth would he want to punish his family, punish his wife on her birthday? Oh, come sit at the trial. Happy birthday. How ridiculous. But all day long, media personalities who had hoped that this case was going to help sink Trump were themselves sinking right along with Alvin's case.
Having people be reminded of just how crazy the 2016 campaign was. And it's not clear the impact it will have. The question is, what does this actually do for voters come November?
Right. The campaign is the courthouse. The courthouse is the campaign.
Alvin and the Chipmunks. Well, yeah, the courthouse is the campaign, but not exactly as they hoped. The left thought that the endless lawfare against former President Trump would effectively neutralize him. obviously take him off the trail, but really, really hurt him. So Biden essentially wouldn't even have to campaign. The trial would campaign for him. But it's the other way around. This case shows us once again, how dangerous it is for our judicial system to be used as a political battering ram.
You expect the lead witness to really set the table for the jury. But, you know, in both relationships and trials, first impressions matter. What's the first impression here? They've been talking about something not in the indictment, something that's not a crime, and actually their star lead witness seemed to help the president. We're left on Friday wondering what's the intelligent design here.
But in the end, he'll be just known as another untalented lawyer who thought his end.
For Biden, there's no chance that Trump's going to get a fair trial.
Now, Saul, the thing about this that what I find is very strange is that their star witness, Michael Cohen, who we've yet to hear from, we'll see what he has to say. But from everything we know, it's going to be another goofball testimony. I mean, he's I don't know him that well. I've had few interactions with him over the years, but how does that again show in any way that Trump was doing this to commit a crime? I still don't get how Cohen ever gets you there.
Well, he's somebody who has absolutely no credibility. His former attorney has said he has no credibility. The government in other proceedings has said that he has no credibility. So you start with that. And I've said all along, the basis of the case is very weak. The idea that paying for a catch and kill story could constitute election interference in a way that lifts this misdemeanor into a felony, because that's the other crime you were trying to commit, election interference, it is a joke. I mean, compare that to what we know Hillary Clinton did. She gave money to support the false Russia collusion hoax and then listed their payments for the Steele dossier with the Federal Election Commission, hit it as an attorney's fees. Now that's a real crime. The problem here, Laura, a huge problem, and this actually ties into the Supreme Court argument yesterday. There's no restraint on these tin-pot state prosecutors. You don't have the kind of institutional restraints that you should have with the federal government to keep a former president from being prosecuted on frivolous or political grounds. You don't have that at the state level. And actually, it's something that Justice Barrett mentioned yesterday in the arguments on presidential immunity. No restraint at all here. You remember Bill Barr. You know, he said when he was the Attorney General, hey, not every corrupt act by Jim Comey or anybody else is necessarily a crime. But people like Alvin Bragg have apparently forgotten that.
And Mike, how is it election interference to want to portray yourself in the media more favorably? Which essentially, if you take their facts, that's what they were really trying to do, which is what all these other celebrity figures that they established at trial also did with the National Enquirer.
Yeah, and David Pecker said he's done this for Trump well before 2016, and David Pecker testified that Trump had no knowledge of the payment by Michael Cohen. This case is a dog.
Dead dog, doesn't bark. Saul and Mike, have a great weekend. All right, apparently Hamas has some new friends. We'll tell you about them. Is it because they see new recruits in America? Curious. We'll explain it next. They say ignorance is bliss, but these people don't sound too happy.
We are Hamas!
You're Hamas, wow. That's a good one. You're what? You're Hamas?
Yes, we're all Hamas.
Do you support Hamas?
Do you view Hamas's actions as resistance or violence?
They're protecting their own people. Just like how Israel has the right to defend itself. Get away from Hamas has the right to...
Isn't life on college campus wonderful these days? And these protesters are so cool, they have some new fanboys, and they're actual terrorists. Seized by this issue, that it's going to be full steam ahead, they'll take over the DNC in the summer. Another Chicago
I don't know. I
DNC
think
style conflagration?
Yeah, they're going to. I don't think they care. I think they're ignorant. I think they're going to go out in the street in Chicago and replay 1968. They don't care how they appear to the Americans. Remember, after October 7th, before the Israeli armed forces went in on October 20th, 21st, they were doing this. They were cheering on the mutilation, the decapitation, the mass rape, the mass murder. This is a very different movement. This is a death cult. And I think people have had it. They're sick of the blockades, occupying bridges, desecrating religious services, occupying St. Patrick's. They've had it up to here. And it's going to hurt Joe Biden. And he's playing into it by privileging 250,000 voters in Michigan.
I don't think this is going well for them at all. Victor, thank you as always. Devastating tornadoes are ravaging the Midwest, causing severe damage to the Gilbert Goons. Tristan ended up in the hospital. Concussion. Rick Keener joins me now. Rick, I first have to ask you how your son is doing and where is he?
Yeah, thanks, Laura, for asking. My son's doing okay. He's currently in Europe. I have him overseas there for his safety. So, but he's physically okay. But you know, he's not the same son that I had before he left.
I mean, I watch these videos. You just ask what's happened to our society. Who are the parents? All of it rages through your mind. But I want to show a Snapchat image that you say, Rick, your son received. Now, you can see someone loading up a magazine with a gun sitting next to him and the text, "pull up." Then just before that, he received threatening messages saying that people wanted to beat him up. And then the message, "you're getting yours." Rick.
Yeah, that's, it's unfortunate. And all these kids, I don't even know where they're getting these guns, Laura, but, they're all minors, most of these kids. And it was so disturbing to see something like that. And to your point, I don't know where they're getting this violence or where this anger's coming from. But it's been going on in at least the East Valley of Phoenix, where I live, for at least the last couple of years. I know I've personally brought it to the school's attention 2 years ago. So it's very disturbing. And
what was the reaction?
We need to do something about it. Well,
what was the reaction from the school? Other parents have as well.
It just seemed very transactional. There didn't seem to be any empathy or taking it serious. Hey, we're Gilbert's the second safest city in the nation, and so I don't think people thought those things would happen, and they did. And many parents, not just myself, have been bringing this up to the local officials, the school boards, and nothing ever was done about it.
Well, Richard, at least a couple of these kids come from pretty privileged backgrounds, and I read one report where one of the fathers got involved and was trying to help smooth things over before the murder charges came down.
Oh yeah. It's where we live is a very affluent area, large families, and you're right, Laura. A lot of these kids come from those affluent families, and unfortunately, we all believe that some of these parents should be culpability for this too, because it really starts at the home, right?
Well, Rick, we wish your family the best. Please give your son our best. And I hope emotionally he is okay after this. Thank you so much.